Okay. Um, so we are going to be working on our first application, and which is nmap. And like I was saying earlier, every single one who is connected to the internet has their own IP address. And with your IP address, that is the only way you can connect to the internet. And in fact, it doesn't matter who you are or where you're from, you must make use of an IP address for you to be connected to the internet or to the internet space. Sorry, I'm just adjusting one or two things. For you to be connected to the internet space. And this class is just specifically going to be talking practically on whatever we are doing. I think yesterday we touched about black box testing, we touched about white box testing, and we touched about gray box testing. The important thing is that whatever practicals we are going to be doing here in the cybersecurity world, these are exactly what they do. Now, nmap is the first application, and we downloaded it yesterday. And I think the right thing for us to do is to run the installation. Now, to run the installation, I don't know if I would have to uninstall one of my, I would have to uninstall it. I believe we can see my screen. This is the nmap. Did I have anyone that I've downloaded here? Downloads. Nope. Okay. For those who know how to install nmap, what you need to do, Mr. Christopher, are you here? Can you share your screen if you haven't installed nmap and just reinstall it?
Okay, sir.
Nmap.org. Yeah,
I'm
just
streaming
share your
from my phone.
screen.
Let me put down my laptop.
Okay. Maybe before then, I think I should be done. Yeah.
All right. Let me put on the laptop.
So right now, I am still downloading it, and which is the normal one. I think yesterday I explained that if you're downloading it from Linux, you can use RPM, but most especially, there are some operating system we are going to be working with. And in those operating systems, they are different from the normal Windows that we are used to. In those operating system, there are certain tools that they use in the cybersecurity world or ethical hacking or penetration testing that those applications are already pre-installed in those operating system. Now, this is the nmap. I believe everyone has downloaded on their Windows. For you to install it, first thing you have to do is either to right click on it and click open or double click on it. So you have to right click right now on the nmap and you click open. Right click on your nmap and click open. And you're going to see something like this pop up. A dialog box will pop up on your screen and it will tell you, do you want to allow this app to make changes to your device? Nmap installer. So that is what you're going to be seeing. Do you want to allow this app to make changes to your device? And it shows nmap installer. Please, I would like, perhaps if we are there, let's just follow up with it. Let somebody notify me. And then you can click yes. Shit, my network.
Sir, did you say that I should uninstall it for them and start afresh, or I should just walk them
No,
through? Which one?
um,
Well, we can.
I'm already doing
Okay.
Please, I'll
installation.
need a walkthrough. I've not been able to install.
Okay, to install, that's what we are doing here.
Ah,
For you to install the nmap you downloaded yesterday,
I
which
couldn't
is
download it
nmap.
yesterday.
Okay, go to your Windows, go to a browser, open nmap. The file is not heavy. Open nmap.org.
I've done
I'm
that.
going to type it here. Okay, and then you go to this particular place where you see download. You click on it.
Where? Okay.
And once you click on the download, the next thing you're going to see is what they call Windows. If you're making use of a Windows operating system,
Yeah,
you
I'm
can
seeing
make use
four
of, you
options:
can click
Windows,
on
Mac
Windows.
OS, Linux, any other OS.
Yeah, so click on Windows and it will take you to a box, a dialog box like this, Microsoft Windows binaries. And then you would see something that says latest stable release self-installer.
Mm,
Latest stable release self-installer. And you see nmap 7.96 setup.exe. So that's
okay.
what you're going to click
Latest
on.
stable release self-install.
Nmap.
I should click on that.
You click on
Nmap
the nmap.
7.96 setup
Yeah,
AX. Okay.
Yeah,
7.96.
this
Yeah,
one. This one they
setup.exe.
wrote. If you are using
Okay.
Windows, use this
Okay.
one. These are
I've
for
seen it.
Windows people.
Yeah.
It's downloading
Why
now.
this one is for
Yeah.
Apple people?
You either then you can either download it or you click on desktop and you save it on your desktop.
I've opened the file. It said, "Do you want to allow this app to make changes to your device?" Do I click yes or
All
no?
right. So that's where we are.
Do I click
Yes,
yes
click
or
Yeah,
no?
click
yes.
yes.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
Thank you. I have. Then I
Yeah.
agree.
Yes, it's click yes.
Do I click on agree, sir?
Yes, you click I agree.
I've
And
done
then
that.
I want you to check you're going to see some boxes here. If they are not checked, I want you to check them to click green to show green. In case they are unchecked, make sure you check them.
Okay, I've checked all of them.
Yeah, and then next, and then install.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Another dialog box, I should click agree again.
Yes, agree and install.
Then there are now three check but restrict NCAP drivers unchecked. Support raw E2 2.11 traffic unchecked. Only the box that is checked say install npcap in win pcap API
Oh, guys, it's
component.
all the same now. Make we continue what we dey do. Why they do like this?
Hello, did I go off?
We can hear you, sir.
Okay. Um, uh,
You
some
just came back
messages here.
online.
Leave
You
me
were
again.
out for some time.
Oh, I wasn't aware. Um, so I believe we are done with the installation.
Mine is still installing.
Yeah. So if you're done with the installation, you're going to see a particular one on your desktop called nmap zmap GUI.
Yeah, it's up already
Yeah.
on my terminal. I can see
Yeah.
that
So
Zen map.
yeah. So you can open
Oga,
it.
please
Yeah,
mute your mic, big guy.
on my own is showing nmap zipmap GUI.
Exactly. So you can open the GUI and you're going to see something like this.
Oga, one of thought, can I show you my screen so that you can see what I'm doing? Because what I'm seeing here is not what I think people are getting.
All right, share your screen.
All right. Um, entire screen. Share.
Yeah. I'm expressing, I think somebody says they want to share their screen.
Hello.
Yes, I can hear you. Share your screen. You said your mic and your it's not blocked. You can unblock it, click on the mic or click on the camera.
Sir, can we continue?
Or can I share my screen? Let me share my screen then.
Yes, you can share your screen.
Okay.
My other phone.
Please, can you see my screen?
No, we can't see your screen. For you to share your screen, you have
Confirm,
to
confirm you
um
can see it now, sir.
okay, yes, we can. Yes, we can.
So
Yes,
after
that's what
after right clicking, this is what I saw.
yes, that's what you're going to see. That's what you're supposed to see.
Okay, so I'll stop sharing. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. All right. Um let me welcome this specific individual. EFCC, you are welcome.
Are you
I s-
serious?
yes, look at it. You are going to see EFCC. You are welcome to the program. Come and learn because there are a lot of things you guys need to know in your institutions that you don't know. So God bless you as you join our class. All right. While we go on, we want to touch on the work of nmap. Now, in nmap, there are few things you need to understand. Nmap simply means network mapper. Network mapper. And I believe you can see my screen, right? Hello,
Yes, we
please. I would
can.
need some
We can
Yes,
see
response.
it,
we
sir.
can.
All right. Now,
Yes, sir, we can.
when when you see nmap and you open it, you see this particular part called zmap. What you need to understand is every system that is connected to the internet, they all have an IP address. And with your IP address, I can know where you are. I can know where you are speaking from. I can know a lot of things about you just with your IP address. An IP address is like your Nigeria NIN that gives data, but these particular data that it can give you are the ones from your computers. So through an nmap or through your IP address, if I know your IP address, which is very easy to get a lot of IP address, if I know your IP address, somebody is doing something there, please. I wouldn't want to keep coming here to block, cover every mic because sometimes it disturbs my ear. Now, when you are making use of nmap, you are actually using it for IP addresses. And once you're going after any IP address, you can see informations about the IP. And once I know the IP address, let's say, for example, you are making use of a Wi-Fi or an internet, and then your laptops are connected to the internet. Your phone is connected to the internet. Your TV is connected to the internet. Through your IP address, I can get into any of all those devices. That means either your phone, either your laptops, everything connected to that internet through your IP address, one can gain access to all those devices. And that is the work of nmap. Now, nmap is just a network mapper that scans any IP address and it will show you the vulnerabilities of that particular IP address. In a sense, before we start using some terminology to start having our conversation, I want to use an ordinary language to bring you in before we start using other terminologies. Now, when you open nmap, you can open it from two different parts. You can open it through the GUI, which is ZMAP that you are seeing right now. They call it, when you see GUI, it means graphical user interface. Graphical user interface, what it does is that it allows you to move your mouse around it. But in the real world of computer, there is no such thing as mouse. Like in the basic foundation of computer, there is nothing like mouse. They are mostly commands. Everything that your computer does, it is interpreting a command. Maybe you are clicking it with your mouse or not. So for you to access nmap in the other route, you can access nmap through opening, when you go to your Windows also, you can go to search and you can type CMD, which is command prompt. You can type CMD, which is command prompt, and then you can click on it. And once you type nmap, because you have installed nmap, there are a lot of things that you can actually do with it. Now, in this IP address, I will give different examples of an IP address, whereby whatever I run under this command, I can also run it on this place called ZMAP. For example, if you open your ZMAP, you are seeing something like targets, you see something like command, you see what we call profile, you see scan, you see tools, you see profile, and you see help. Now in the targets, what is an IP address or how do you get IP address? An IP address can be gotten in many forms. For example, let us say if someone type facebook.com, every website you see has um, their own IP address. Every phone you communicate with has their own IP address. And if I say nmap, before we go into command, in the target, I just type facebook.com or www.facebook.com, and I say scan. The moment I click scan, it begins to scan different ports. It begins to scan different things from the computer. I think I'm not supposed to use aggressive scan yet. Let's just use ordinary scan, so it wouldn't take our time. So I'm just using an ordinary scan. And what it would do is that it will go to that particular website and it begins to pick up information about their network, how their network actually operates. Not how exactly how it operates, but what are the secured ports around it, what ports are vulnerable. The reason why we are using Facebook, because Facebook is one of the largest social media um, websites that people go into. And so we want to ask, we want to see certain things there. What are the information that nmap can give to us? Now, for example, when you use nmap and we scan, what you can see, this is just an ordinary scan. You can see that they say starting nmap, blah, blah, blah. And before you know, what you see here is that you see www.facebook.com. And what did we see? We see an IP address. Now with this, we have seen Facebook IP address. Now, the question will be, if we have seen Facebook IP address, now rather for me to now scan www.facebook.com as my target, this becomes the target. Then you can copy it and remove the facebook.com and say, this is what I want to scan. This is the IP address, and I say scan. So whenever you type www.facebook.com or you put in this IP address, they are both the same thing. Now, what they did is that for you to host a website, you need to have an IP address. So, but what they did is that they changed what we call host name so that everyone will be able to access it in a better language. Because if you tell people to access Facebook is 102.132.101.35, most people would not know that. But when we say facebook.com, while you are typing facebook.com, what you are actually doing is that you are actually calling the IP address of Facebook, which is 102.132.101.35. Now, it depends also which country you are. If you're those who are actually streaming from Nigeria, you're using 102.132.101.35. If you are in the US, you would be using a different IP. If you're in the UK, you'll be using a different IP. Now, you can also see that under the target, when I put in this IP address, what it shows? It shows facebook.com. So that means if you go to your browser and then you type 102.132 and you paste it, advance, proceed, you can see that it is showing a Facebook logo here. So that is to tell you that this IP address belongs to Facebook. Now, they kind of protect the IP directly. The IP is a little bit protected, and that's the reason why I'm using it. because there are a lot of websites that are actually not secured, but this particular one is a little bit secured. I use the word a little bit secured. So when we click on it, the question will be, what are these things that we are looking at? Now, first information is that when you type facebook.com nmap done, whenever you see something like this nmap done, it simply means it is done scanning. When this particular thing has not popped up, nmap done, that means it is not done scanning. Some kind of scan might take some minutes, some might take hours. But in the nmap done, this says one IP address and it says one host up. IP address is what you're seeing here. One host up simply tell you that that person is currently connected to the internet. IP address is this particular one we are seeing here. One host up simply means that that person is connected to the internet. If the person is not connected to the internet, or the person's network or the person's service is not connected to the internet, all this is not going to show up. There's nothing that will come up here. So for example, if we want to check our own network where we are right now, let's say the way Nigeria is designed, we are using I think some internet service provider like MTN, Airtel, Glow, and the rest of it. Every single one of us have a phone number. And if they want to track anyone, for example, or anyone wants to be gotten, the first thing they do is to know your IP address. If they are coming, if it is coming from the ISP, that's the internet service provider, it is to know your IP address, because every time you move from point A to point B, your IP address goes with you as long as you are with that device. As long as you are connected to the internet, your IP address is your information. And I use IP address as NIN in a sense that um, once you're having it with you, once you have your NIN with you, it's, it details every information about you. Now, the next thing you see under this Facebook, you see something that shows port, you see something that shows state, and you see something that shows service. Now, what is port? Port kind of is kind of like a place whereby your information flows through. It is more or less where your information flows through. Apart from your IP address, there is a port where informations flow through. And before we start diving deep, we would actually know more things about ports. We will know things about state, and we will know things about services. Now, when we are talking about port 80, whatever you see here, you see something like port 80 TCP. Port 80 simply means that there is an unsafe part of this network that is actually available to the public. And there's another one, which is port 443, which is to tell us that there's a secured port of this particular place, of this particular IP address that is secured. Now, for example, let's say that certain individuals want to penetrate Nigeria. They would have to pass through certain routes. Now, it's either you go through Cotonou, maybe you want to go to Ghana, either you pass through the Badagry border, you will pass through different borders to be able to penetrate into something. Whenever you see a port is just like a border that one can pass through it and get into a country. So the same thing, it's like ports are the things that are available here, whereby an individual can pass through it and get into an organization. So how is this um, good to what do we call it? To an organization as a cybersecurity expert? Now, what happens is that if you scan an IP address and you see that there are open ports, this particular border is open, that particular border is open, that particular border is open, the next thing you should do if you want to secure the country is to close many of the borders and create only entry that is very secured. So that means port 80 signifies that it is not secured, and we would explain, we will still go deeper. The reason is that when you look at the service is HTTP, and then you see another one that shows you 443 and it is HTTPS. Now, if you browse a website that has HTTP, that website is actually leaking out your information. And if you browse a website that is HTTPS, that website actually encrypts all your information. That means most of your information are kind of secured. They are encrypted. So if you're working in an organization and you realize that ports are open, or you scan your network in your house or in your devices or in your environment and you see that ports are open, the right thing for you to do is to ask yourself, why are all these borders open to me? I need to close these borders. So if we have to start with ourselves, one of the things we can do is with your IP address. If I have your IP address, I'm just going to use a general IP address that all of us, we can all work on, which is 192.168.0.1. This is everyone's personal IP address. It is more or less like a subnet, and we will still expand on that. It is more or less like a subnet. Under this target, I just type 192.168.0.1 and I say scan. Now what I'm doing is that I'm scanning my own system or whatever is in my network. That's what I'm scanning. It's taking time. All right. Now, what did you see here? When I scanned my system, what you realize is that scanning my system, it tells you that port 53/TCP open slash 80/TCP open, HTTP 443 is open, and it actually shows my MAC address, that is this particular computer that I'm making use of. And then it tells you that nmap done, IP address, and then it say one host up. That means I'm connected to the internet. Now, there are a lot of things that most hackers do to organizations or individuals. The moment they have different information on you and they know you are connected to the internet, that is when they strike. So if you are not connected to the internet, for example, it is difficult for me to access your phone. If you are not connected to the internet, it is difficult for me to access any information on you. For example, when we start going into other programs where we talk about penetration testing and the rest of it, now, if you hack a device, you can turn on the camera of that person without the person's knowledge. You can turn on the voice of the person without the person's knowledge. You can turn on a lot of things without the person's knowledge. Now, that is not what we are actually to do, but those are the possibilities of why you need to understand things about pen tester or ethical hacking and hacker. There's a difference when we say ethical hacking and hacker. The difference is that one person is using their own in the right way and the other person is using their own for selfish reasons. Now, if I can penetrate your phone with my laptop, I can shut down your phone, I can shut down your organization, I can do a lot of things with it. But you have to be connected to the internet for me to be able to do that. So while we are all connected to the internet, all these informations are actually there. Most people are not aware. Some people just have a laptop and then they connect it to internet and then they put in what do we call it, antivirus, and they believe they are secured. Installing antivirus in your computer might be good, but it doesn't mean security at all. Because in the level of pen testing, which is when I use the word pen testing, I'm using the terms of cybersecurity. Normally, it is ethical hacking. And if we remove ethical there, it is hacking. In the world of hackers, antivirus is not sufficient enough. Now, for me, as a person, I like to open some ports in my system. I just like to do it. Sometimes I open it so I can see who wants to act funny around my system. And so I can take that advantage on that particular person to know if this criminal is around this place or if this criminal is around that particular environment. Now, with that being said, these ports, I open these ports, but these ports shouldn't be open. Port 53 is open, port 80 is open, and we have 443 slash TCP, which is the secured one. 443 simply means something that is secured. So these can always be open. And HTTP slash TCP open port that you see HTTP, it shouldn't be open. But sometimes if it is open, I will tell you how hackers would find vulnerabilities around this system and take advantage of it. And this is how you pay attention to what's going on around yourself. But let's move a bit further. Now, I just scanned my IP address. This is not my real IP address. My real IP address is 192.168.0.111. But when you use this, it should scan your system, your network at that particular time. Now, the moment I want to know if your phone is connected to the internet, because this is only talking about what you can see. It says 995 close ports, TCP port reset, and it shows all these ports that are open, and it shows MAC address. Now, if I put slash 24, that is another command. If I put 192.168.0.1 and I put slash 24 means any system, any devices that are connected to this system that are in the internet, I want you to scan everything. Maybe your TV is connected, maybe your laptops are connected, maybe your children devices are connected. Whatever is connected to the internet, just by adding the slash 24 to it, you can get everything. And so you click on scan. Um, let me, so I can turn on my, uh, just hold on. Yeah, turn off those bridges. So, um, let me come up with this again. Okay, someone is asking a question. It says, "Can you be using my IP address?" Yes, we will get to all of that. You would use your IP address so in the future somebody does not hack your system, and then you say you gave your IP address to the man of touch. Before you know, EFCC will come and handcuff me. So keep your IP address private to yourself.
Hello, sir. Can you
Yeah.
wide your screen? Can you wide the screen so we could see?
No, I can't wide the screen. I can't wide the screen. Um, except I'm using it from another system, this second system.
because it's
or I
hard to
use
like to
some
see
of my
through.
to see. Yeah. Okay. Just be patient and you'll be able to see it. Now you can see what is here, and one of the things you can observe is that it has scanned this particular system, which is the former one, and this is the MAC address. And now it has also scanned another one, and then it scanned um, a different system. So this is um, it is showing you at this particular junction that three devices are connected to the internet. Three devices are connected to the internet. So this is one, two, and three. So let us say, for example, that this person that has this system has secured all his own network. Because he has secured all his own network, he is protected in a sense. But in the Wi-Fi they are making use of, this person's port that we now scan, this one is not secured. This one is secured. So what can an hacker do? Most of them will pass through this particular individual to get to this particular individual. So even though this is secured, it doesn't mean that they can't still penetrate because this other devices here is not a secured device. And that is the reason why going into the world of cybersecurity is very important. And if you look at it right here, you can see that this computer by your left hand side, you can see okay, this is the Facebook one. You can see the three systems that are connected, one, two, and three. And if I put on my TV and I put on my other laptop, I'm using three different network in my house. So I just connect this to few devices. There's another one, which is this that are connected to other devices. So if I'm switching to another one, you are going to see all, maybe the TV, everyone's phone that is connected to the internet. You can have all the ports right here. And with the ports that are available, you can decide. And this is where the cybersecurity part plays a role. If you are not very careful, they can come through this particular place without sending you any notification. They don't need to call your number. They don't need to chat you on WhatsApp. They don't need to do anything to you, and they can grab your system, and they are the owner of your phone. Whenever you're speaking, they can hear you speak. They can turn on your camera. They can borrow money from GTB without your knowledge. So these are the dangers of having devices that are not secured. Either your laptop, either your phone, if those things are not secured, or you think you just have an antivirus, antivirus plays a good role, but it is very limited to the level of what why we are talking about cybersecurity, because of the hackers in today's society. This is what is possible that can be done. Now, I will show us something from this HTTP, what it is HTTP and what is not HTTP. Why HTTP, we need to be careful with HTTP. So we have a full understanding of HTTP. But before we go into HTTP, while that is loading, let us still continue on this. Now, how does nmap actually work? You can see that just by adding /24, I know that this person is using 3 devices that are connected to the internet. And so the moment you're scanning and you see this information, people can make use of this information to do and undo. Now, it gets a little bit interesting. One can say, let me not use /24 so it wouldn't take our time. In the nmap, there are certain commands, and this command would help you know what you can do with the nmap. For example, if I say nmap and I use -h and I press enter or I scan, you are going to see something like this pop up. Campus host name, you can see all these commands. You see P stands for port ranges. You can see F, this is for fast mode. You can see service, you can see all these things. When you see OS in cybersecurity, most times it is operating system. So that means they can detect the kind of operating system you are using. If you are using Windows 7, they would know. If you are using Windows 10, they would know. If you are using Windows 11, they would know. Um, we're also talking about version. There's also the aspect of version. There's also the aspect of, we would explain a lot of these things later. So let's say I want to scan an IP address, for example, and I use A/A. A simply means aggressive scan. Now you can remember that earlier when I scanned 192.168.0.1, it shows us limited information. But right now that I use A/A here in the aggressive scan, you are going to see that it will do more deeper research than what we saw earlier. So this is here. Let's go, Kali. Oh, sorry. And you see, when someone is saying IP address, it's like you just giving out your phone number to any kind of person or giving your information to any kind of person. Because when we begin to dive in, you would see different things that can be done in the cyberspace, whereby, let's say, for example, I'm being defrauded by an organization. I can decide the organization, nobody can use network in that organization. Nobody would be able to do anything with internet on that in that organization because I know the IP address of the organization. So you don't want to be on that end, what is possible and what is not possible. So let's say, for example, what is an HTTP website? That is, I want to show you that HTTP when you see port 80. We use this. I'm just going to, we are not here at all, so we still have a long way before we get here. Let me say this. So say 192.168.0.128. Let's say Google. Let's say yes, disable Apache. Okay. Now 192.168.0.128. Now I can convert that particular IP address into a link that you see there. And in that IP address, when I convert it to a link, it might take me some time to do that. 192.168.128. Now, if I forward that particular link to you, what does it mean to be HTTP? Now, What I did is that right now is that I have built a Google page. This is like your Gmail account, and I can change this into a link that is like gmail.com, blah, 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 blah. And I might just add GMMAIL and you wouldn't know, but this is now Gmail. So when you click on this and you want to log in, I can put in some information and tell you that quickly log into your Gmail. Somebody attempt to do this. I can give you all kind of story. Yahoo boys know how to lie, all kinds of lies. So if they do all those kind of stuff, you come in immediately, you type in ecotech@gmail.com, and then you put in your password. You say, let me quickly log in. I type Kolawole as the password and I say sign in to quickly go and see what is going on in my email address. And then God will open to you. And then you are like, oh, what's going on? Let me quickly sign into the real one or to another one. But what happened is while you did that, if you see this particular place, I have the email address and this is the password. This is the email address you just type, and this is the password. And you think that you have logged into your Gmail, but what happened is that I have gotten the credentials of your Gmail account. Now, the reason why that leakage happens is basically because that port that you have used to log in is basically
Hello.
Try. Network has kick Oga outside though.
I
Voila.
swear. I swear. This network thing now. What the fuck?
all right.
Everybody
Okay,
should
he's
just
back.
chill. His network. Network is disturbing him.
Uh,
He's back.
all right.
Can't hear you. We can't hear you, sir.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Now, what happened is this. The reason why I can see from that Gmail and I can have all the information right here is because I convert that same, I just clone that particular Gmail to a port which is port 80. So every information you put in as in port 80 HTTP, it simply means an unsecured website. So once you put in those information, it is easy for somebody to have access to those information. If someone is watching it, even if you build a website and that website is not strong enough with HTTPS, even the one with HTTPS, they can break into it. But the one with the HTTP, you can break into it and take a lot of credentials from it. So these are the reasons why one need to be very careful with whenever you see things like port 80, because port 80 simply tells you that there's danger somewhere. I don't know, maybe I would switch to this my other system so that those who are complaining that they can't see um, what I'm doing, so they would have they'll be able to see it. Let me use please, if you want to ask question before we proceed, go ahead while I log in from this other
Yes, sir. You have to let the other people streaming from other regions. You have to let them understand that the IP address, the network IP address, is not the same as the one we Nigerians are using. So they don't think that 192.168.0.1 is the IP network IP address. So if you don't let them
end.
understand, they will
No,
all think 192 is theirs.
no, it is still the same thing. It is for you to just see your IP address. Now, if I'm connected to an organization, maybe it's in the US or in the UK, it is either 192.168.0.1 or 192.160 168.0.1.1 or 192.168.1.0. Depending, you can switch out of it. And out of it, if you want to know your real IP address, for those who still want to know their IP address, what you can do is, let's just go there. You can open this your system under this place, type Windows PowerShell.
We can't see your system. Oh.
We are not seeing your screen, sir.
O- Okay,
So that
here's what you can
means
do.
the general IP address for the C cables is just 192.168.0.1, which
Mo-
is the general
Most
IP
of them.
address
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
that the
for
sea
you to know
cable
your
under the water uses for the whole world.
majority,
Okay.
majority. Yeah, it is just for you to show you your subnet. That's not your real IP address. To know your original IP address, you can just type what is my IP address.com. What is my IP address.com. So what do you see? You can see IPv4. This is your original IP address.
Your screen is not showing, sir.
I think I'm sharing my screen.
It's not showing, sir.
It's showing.
It's showing, but
It's showing.
When you say
It's showing.
original
It's
IP
showing.
address,
It's
is this
showing.
the one for the internet service provider?
This is for the internet service provider. This is your real IP
Yes, that was
address from the internet service provider.
okay.
This is my
Internet
own
service provider.
personal, this is my own, yes, this is my personal IP address. Every other IP address
Okay,
you're seeing there is the IP address of the one that is connected under this particular one. So that means your laptop, for your laptop to connect with your Wi-Fi, it has an IP address which is going to connect, because if everything are connected, then there is no difference between your phone and any other device. So for your, because they operate
okay,
differently, their operating system are different. So the way networking goes is that they all would have their own IP for them to be able to have access to this internet provider. And
Hello.
so if you are using your, yes,
How can I see the MAC address of my device, e.g., my phone?
of your phone, is your phone connected to
Yes.
your, I don't know what phone you are using, but
Yeah,
one
I'm
of the
using.
thing is, if it is
Yeah, I'm
connected
using
to
an
your internet.
I'm using an Android, and I'm sharing the connection to my laptop. So I wanted to compare the MAC address that I saw from nmap if it matches the one of my phone.
Okay, I wouldn't know about your phone, but what I can tell you is you can go through nmap and then um go through settings, probably Google it, how to check, because depending on the phone, I can't speak on every phone at the same time. Let me stop sharing from here.
Okay,
Hello, sir.
please,
Please, can I ask a question?
hello.
Yeah,
Am I the only person
yeah.
that couldn't download this or couldn't install nmap.
Sorry, there's a lot of cracking going on there.
Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, I couldn't install the nmap. I wanted to share my screen earlier. My system went up, so I'm back now. I don't know if I can still share it so that you can see what I'm doing.
Would the class accept, or do we proceed? Due to some people have been following up, maybe it's something you go through the record. But
Please, let's proceed.
if they don't mind, then
If I'm the only person, maybe if I'm the only person, later somebody might teach me. If I'm not, so that we can go together.
Don't worry, don't worry. Somebody will forward you the link from YouTube so that you can
All right,
install it
all right,
manually.
all
Very
right, all
easy.
right, all right.
all
Stop.
right.
Stop